Architecture and place shape who we are, who we become. Buildings don't merely shelter us from the elements. Our homes, do they not reflect who we are? Do they not shape our very conscience, our psyches? No one understood this better than the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, who in 1923 began building the Bolligan Tower. The tower stands on the northeastern shore of Lake Zurich. For Jung, it was a place of retreat in which he could reconnect with nature, with those primal energies. A place that he imbued with mythological power. The building itself embodies and stands as a concrete expression, or a culmination even, of his own archetypal psychology. Throughout the site, one would find mythological symbols. What looks like ancient cryptic words carved into stone. In order to draw back this veil of mystery and begin to understand what this building is, what it represented for Jung, we need to go back. We need to consider Jung's evolving psychology, but consider also the architecture and place that most shaped Jung, that had a bearing on his work, and ultimately that work's expression in stone. Europe, towards the end of the 19th century. Carl Jung grew up from age 4 onwards here, on the three-way border between France, the Federal Republic of Germany, and Switzerland. In the small town of Kleinuggen, just north of Basel. Here, his father was the local church pastor. In this drawing, made about a century earlier, we get a good sense of the surrounding area. It shows Kleinuggen with the church, Basel with its cathedral in the distance. We have the Rhine River moving south to north, water for Jung being a symbol of the unconscious, with a menacing quality to it. You can never see beneath the surface, you cannot see what monsters may lurk in her depths. But perhaps most striking of all, on the west bank of the river, we have this colossal fortification, Fort Kuning. Being as this area is on a three-way border, it is strategically significant, hence the fort. It turns out, however, that the fort was in fact dismantled in 1815, before Jung was born. This does not, however, preclude its presence from Jung's imagination. It seems that the fort continued to loom large in the town's collective memory. It was part of the town's legacy. Note the fort's circular structure, much like a mandala. For Jung, the goal of psychic development is the integration of the whole person, conscious and unconscious, a process Jung called individuation. The mandala is a symbolic representation of this process. It represents a journey, a process through life, which is not linear in nature, but a process of circumambulation. We're moving around the mandala, and being undirectional, we invariably bring ourselves back to our beginning. For Jung, a return to Kleinuggen. This mandala can be found in Jung's Red Book. Towards the end of the book, we come to another, one that resembles Fort Kuning. This image was drawn in 1928, a few years after the building of his tower. And what about the structure in the middle? Does the roof not resemble Jung's tower? Here we find Jung's symbolic middle. Let us take one final mandala from the Red Book, an image which alleviates any doubt that Jung, in his artistic exploration of the unconscious, was drawing on the architecture and place of his youth. Though an imagined representation, note how similar this image is to the drawing we considered of Kleinuggen and its surrounding area, complete with the fort, his childhood home in the foreground, the city in the distance. The river has been replaced with a road, complete with cars. And here, as we move through the first half of the 20th century, industrialization, trains and factories. The water lies beyond, stretching out beyond his imagined realm, much like the water of Lake Zurich stretching out before his tower, before his center. So let us now turn in on the tower. The building went up in several phases. The first phase, built in 1923, was the circular mandala-like tower itself. The extra parts were slowly added over the years, so that the building would make for a better holiday home. It reached its completion, as we know it today, in 1956, just a few years before Jung's death. So who built the tower? It is simply not possible that Jung himself built the entire tower single-handedly. He could not have lifted the bricks. He certainly had help from members of his family and others. The building itself represents a kind of retreat from modernity, an older, even medieval way of living. There's no electricity, just wood-burning stoves throughout. Jung described many unusual incidents as having taken place around the tower, even experiences with ghosts. In terms of the iconography, there is the presence of Philemon, who was a figure from Jung's dreams, a guru-like figure with superior insight. The tower is dedicated to Philemon, it's a shrine to him. In the courtyard, there is a memorial to his wife Emma. Just outside the building, there stands the Philemon stone, again with a mandala. It was erected on Jung's 75th birthday. One side, written in Latin, reads, "Here stands the mean uncomely stone. 'Tis very cheap in price. The more 'tis despised by fools, the more loved by the wise." Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I enjoyed making this one. On my channel I do a range of videos on transcendentalism, on spirituality, on depth psychology, Carl Jung of course. If these topics interest you then please do subscribe for more. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you in the next one.